Hello, everybody, and welcome into another season preview show here at the Hockey Writers YouTube channel. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and we are up to the Boston Bruins here. I got Zander Manning, who covers the Bruins here at the Hockey Writers. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Looking at the schedule, getting excited for hockey to start. Just another few weeks now until the preseason, and jitters are getting the best of me, Matthew.
For sure. And I've said this many times, like the offseason just seems like it's just dragged on this year. I don't know. Like maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I mean, there's some off seasons I'm like, okay, like it's going by and it's a little too fast. And this one is just like, come on, just
It's
start
like,
hockey season
yeah.
already. It's like that meme, like start the season.
Yeah, right. We're still a while away. We're about a month and a bit away from regular season starting. But we do have the preseason. We got training camps and lots of stuff to talk about. Thank God, because I mean, I get tired of previewing things. Just let's get to the games. So let's dive in and talk about the Bruins going into this season. And I mean, the forward group is got some new additions, quite a few actually. When you're looking at them, nothing really high end, no big names, but you're looking at Tanner Jeannot, Victor Arvidsson, Mikey Eyssimont, and Alex Steeves being added. You can talk on each of them. You can highlight just one, whatever you want. But I mean, the biggest ones I'd say was Arvidsson and Jeannot. Eyssimont's a little bit of an interesting one too. So, what do you think about these new guys?
So I think they're all very interesting. Obviously, Jeannot is the biggest out of all of them. Everyone's looking at him coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. Obviously, Arvidsson as well. The ones that I'm looking at, I guess, because everybody's going to be talking about them ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm.
The NHL Network's going to be covering them. Everyone's going to be covering them. But the ones I'm looking at are Alex Steeves and Sean Kuraly.
Right, Kuraly, right, returning guy, right.
Alex Steeves, I'm looking at. He's coming from Toronto, and they played Toronto early on in the season, and that's going to be. I'm looking at it as a bloodbath. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be one of those games that you got Steeves going back to Toronto. You got Carlo coming back and facing Boston. It's going to be interesting. Maybe even Fraser Mitten, if he makes the roster this year, makes it even more interesting there. But I like Kuraly coming back to Boston, and admittedly, I missed him a little bit. Missed him as a fan, missed him as a guy to cover who's covering the team, and he really fills out the depth at that bottom six position.
Yeah, I forgot about him because I was like, oh, he wasn't on the Bruins. But I feel like he had his best season. I mean, he's bounced around, I think, a couple teams, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, he's a good returning guy. I don't think it was a new addition, but he is a new addition, just a returning.
Newer addition. I
Newer
wouldn't say new addition. Not new to the like. I wouldn't say new to the culture. Like he played at or around when Sturm was still playing. So
yeah,
that's kind of it's gonna be nice to have someone there who's familiar, with, at least with what Sturm was playing with, and kind of can buy into the culture a little bit more than these new guys who are coming from programs in Edmonton, where you got Chris Knobloch as a coach, Tanner Jeannot in LA, where it's a completely different hockey culture out there, where it's the city is based off of baseball. It's not based off of hockey. Yeah. And then you got a guy like Steeves who's coming in with him, and obviously he's coming from Toronto, where they're born to be hockey players when they're 2 years old walking.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at those two guys as really the people to kind of fill out this roster.
I agree. I mean, they could be some interesting depth. I mean, I don't know if they could be bigger than you think, right? So, Eyssimont, I really like him. I think he's going to be a really good addition as well. So, I mean, we'll see. Lots of like not bigger names, but I mean, look at Arvidsson. He could potentially score 20 goals. And Jeannot, we all know what he brings, right? He's physicality, and that's. I mean, he might score a few goals, but yeah, they're the guys that everyone's gonna be talking about. So definitely good to focus in on some of the lesser known names for sure.
Tanner Jeannot will probably hang out with Marco Sturm on the fourth line, maybe have a few fights with him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could be a nice fourth line for sure. All right, well, look at the rest of the forward group. What other big storylines, burning questions you've got for the team? I mean, of course, it's led by David Pastrnak, as always. Elias Lindholm coming off a bad season. He did kind of turn it on towards the end of the season. Looked like he started to gain some chemistry. What are you looking at for this forward group here?
So I'm actually writing right now about the storylines going into the season. Just started the draft today. One thing I'm looking at is it's kind of a trivial thing here in Boston. It's kind of like Boston problems and really nothing to complain about. But like one of the big questions I'm looking at is, can David Pastrnak get to 100 points again? He's made it 3 seasons in a row. He's halfway to the franchise leader in Bobby Orr with 6. And just from a pure fan standpoint, be fantastic to see him get to 4. Would it be great to see him get to 7 and take over the franchise league? Great. But again, like I said, Boston problems.
Yeah.
But my biggest question is Lindholm, like you said, he had a bad season last season. Is he going to live up to the contract? And if he doesn't, what are they going to do about it? And that's the biggest debate here in Boston is, can he actually control it, and can he actually take care of himself on the ice to the point where he can be that goal scorer that he was in Calgary, that he was in Vancouver? And it's kind of an unknown at this point, unfortunately, in Boston. And another player I'm looking at, whether he's going to be consistently productive again for another year, is going to be Pavel Zacha. He's kind of one of those players that has a fantastic season or he doesn't. There's really no middle ground with him. And he's had 2 good seasons with Boston. He's been healthy. But can he continue that into his 3rd season is really the biggest question for me about the forward group.
Yeah, I mean, Lindholm for sure. I mean, he's the top line center, not just by salary. He is the top line center when you're looking at it. But he hasn't produced like it since Calgary. And even in Vancouver, he started off very slow. He started turning it on towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. And I don't know. I'm not sure if he can return to that. Getting paid to do it, but we'll see if he can definitely start going back to that, because that's a lot of money you're paying for a guy that hasn't put up a lot of points lately.
I mean, unfortunately, he's the first line center by default.
Yeah,
that's the problem with this team is they have plenty of forwards. Don't get me wrong; they'll have 4 lines of forwards that are solid, but you maybe have 1 or 2 lines of centers.
Yeah,
you don't have that number 1, number 2 center like you had with Bergeron and Krejci. And you got Krejci going 1 year, Bergeron going the other year, and then you got Don Sweeney throwing his hands in the air saying, "What do I do now?" It's like, well, you got to build the farm, buddy, and he didn't do
it. Not throw a bunch of money at a guy that's a borderline second line center at this point, it seems. Yeah. I mean, ideally, I think he fits as a 3rd line center, which, I mean, he's not getting paid for that, but yeah, it just seems like he's more of that now. We'll see if he can kind of turn it around this season. All right, moving to the back end. This didn't see much additions. I mean, these 2 guys, I mean, Jordan Harris and Victor Soderstrom. Soderstrom's coming from Europe, coming back to the NHL. And Jordan Harris, I'd say probably more of a depth guy. Do you see them making any impact, or are they just more those 7th, 8th defensemen?
I don't see. The Bruins are really tough when it comes to defensemen, because you've got the top line, you've got McAvoy and Lindholm. Of course, Lindholm's coming back from injury. And then you got Zadorov and who?
Yeah.
So it's kind of going to be mixed for me, where it's like, okay, sure, they're going to be depth, but I don't think they're going to be depth for long. But it really depends on what the AHL shows them in training camp. Because they have a lot of promising defensemen down in Providence. They've got Jeffrey Veal, they've got Ty Gallagher, and they've got a bunch of defensive prospects. But it really depends on who's ready for that next step and who's ready for that leap to the NHL, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have a chance. They're going to have a chance to make it. Mason Lohrei, I mean, he had a good season. Yep. I mean, it's plus minus aside. But
don't get me started.
All right. But I mean, he's still really young, and there's a lot of potential. So we'll see if he can maybe elevate his game this season. Any other storylines you're looking at the defense? Otherwise, I mean, the new guys are, of course, beyond the top three guys, like you said. What other stuff are you looking at?
Well, you mentioned Lohrei, and he's young, and yes, his plus minus is not exactly the best, but he's gonna need to develop his two-way game this season. He brought the scoring last year. He brought the assists, and don't get me wrong, he impressed. But he's going to need to play the back end too. He's going to need to backtrack a little bit. He's going to need to be a defenseman.
Yeah,
you can't just be the Johnny Boychuk all the time. You got to learn how to play the back end at the same time and actually block shots. And that's why I bring up Ty Gallagher. You've got a right-handed defenseman who, in my opinion, it was a small sample size last year, but I think he's ready for the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he transferred last year from BU to Colorado College, and you think, okay, he's a transfer. What's he going to do? He comes in and leads the team in block shots in one season, and he also leads the team in goals for defensemen. That's a true two-way defenseman, and that's somebody that they need on the team. They don't necessarily need another goal scorer on the defensive end because, sure, you can shoot it till you're blue in the face from the blue line, but you also got to go back when that shot gets blocked and stop people from scoring.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And Ty Gallagher, I've liked for a while since he was drafted in his draft year. So I think he could definitely make an impact. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but like you say, there's a lot of opportunity that he could potentially be in the mix. And we'll see, because he definitely is a guy that could be needed on that Bruins blue line for sure. All right, goaltending. Now, Jeremy Swayman obviously is the starter and coming into second season under that massive contract. And he wasn't that good last year. Backup, Korpisalo, I'm assuming. I put Michael DiPietro in there because I think he's in the mix as well. What do you think about these three?
Okay. Well, first of all, you paid Swayman too much money too soon, in my opinion. He played them like a fiddle, and you got a number one goalie. I'm just grateful for that, and we're not sitting at the bottom like Buffalo. That's all I'm going to say right there about that. As for Corpy and DiPietro, those two are just – I was just writing about this earlier today. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's really going to be a battle. I think it's going to – because you have to remember DiPietro signed an NHL contract this year. So he's going to have to clear waivers if he doesn't make the roster. So I think it's going to be more of an exhibition for Korpisalo, and they're going to try to find a trade partner. Now, whether DiPietro wants to stay in Boston, he didn't give me a definitive answer when I talked to him earlier this season. He gave me the whole, I like playing for Boston. And I'm like, okay, well, they're not giving me much here, but that's what he does before free agency. And then he goes ahead a few weeks later and signs the NHL deal. So I think he wants to be here. I think it's going to be more of a DiPietro show behind him, and I hope that's the case. But again, it's all about finding a trade partner for Korpisalo, and that could potentially be tough, as he has been a career backup.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, DiPietro, he'll get claimed on waivers.
He'll be gone first team of the season.
So, I mean, I don't think they're going to try that. And Korpisalo could be traded. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting storyline to watch throughout preseason, because they're going to have to make a decision on that. And if DiPietro plays really well, you're going to say, well, we got to get rid of Korpisalo, because DiPietro is obviously much younger and has some potential. I don't know about being a starter. I mean, he was in the Canucks system for a while. I thought his ceiling's more of a good 1B, 1A, 1B type guy. I don't see him as a straight starter, but
no.
I mean, they have Swayman. So, I mean, DiPietro, if he's just a good, maybe they can create the Allmark Swayman thing again. That seemed to work out.
I don't see Sturm doing that, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is I see him saying, you're number one, you're number two, suck it up. I don't see him saying, you're number one, we'll see what happens. I see him saying 1, 2, That's how this is going to work. And I mean, but I could see it being sort of he needs a day off, so take this game, or take 2 games. He needs some extra time, but not like a 50-50 split, maybe more of a 70-30 split. And it also is a good test for Swayman too. Shows Don Sweeney, okay, he can do this, or it shows him, okay, I give him too much money.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Swayman he just got he did a lot of money for really. I mean, he hasn't been a straight starter of last season. Obviously, it was the first time. He's always been a platoon guy, so we'll see. He definitely showed. I mean, the World Championships. If that's an indicator of what's to come, then maybe that's a good thing. So we'll see. All right. Well, you mentioned Marco Sturm. New head coach. So what are your expectations for him? I mean, he is not just new to the Bruins, but new to the NHL because he hasn't been a head coach in the NHL before. He was in the AHL with the Ontario Reign, was really good with them. Of course, a former Bruin as a player. What are your expectations going into this season for him?
The way I would put my expectations is they're tempered expectations. I don't have high hopes. I don't think they're going to win the President's Trophy. I don't think they're going to be at the top of the Atlantic or even the Eastern Conference for that matter. I put them in the playoffs. I don't put them in the middle of the pack. I don't put them at the bottom of the pack. I put them maybe in that 6-7 seed range. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to eke in. Because, like you said, Sturm's got a good history, but more importantly to me, he knows what it means to win in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, he didn't win the Cup, but he was on the team before the Cup, so he knows what the culture's like, what the culture's supposed to be, and he learned from the best. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm calling Claude Julien the best. That's a very loaded statement, but I think he is one of the best coaches they've had in recent history, and I think he's going to take what he learned from Claude, what he learned from his assistant coaching in LA, and his head coaching in Ontario. And if you can win in the AHL for the Kings, I think that speaks a lot of volumes right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do agree with the tempered expectations. We'll see. I mean, it's always the case with new head coaches. You're not sure how he's going to kind of adapt to the. I mean, sometimes it works really well, like Chris Knobloch in Edmonton. I mean, he's pretty quickly able to be a pretty good head coach. Yes, they haven't won a cup, but making it to the finals, pretty big deal. So, I mean, if he can become and quickly get into this, who knows? I mean, he does need to have a good roster as well, but I mean, Bruins do have a okay. We'll get into that.
I think it also helps too that he's got the depth in the AHL too. That Jim Montgomery didn't have the depth. He wasn't working with a whole lot. Let's be real. And then Bruce Cassidy somewhat had a little bit of something, and they just completely screwed over Sacco. I mean, they've actually made an effort at the end of last season to say, let's sign this guy out of college. Let's sign this guy out of college. Let's consider this guy out of college in James Higgins. And James Higgins said, no, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
It was more of a I'll be back than a, well, no. It was I scored 37 points in 37 games. Let's make it 74 this year, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll obviously probably going to talk about Higgins later on. But, I mean, he does have a lot more to work with to see for depth. And being in the AHL as a head coach, too, I mean, you kind of, that how these guys are. So, and I'm obviously he played the Providence Bruins before, too. So seeing some of these guys, it's going to be interesting to see how Marco Sturm kind of is in his first year as head coach. All right. Well, you mentioned playoffs and stuff like that. Where do you see the Bruins in the Atlantic Division? You said they're eke into the playoffs, but where do you see them in this? I mean, the Atlantic Division is very interesting. I see there's so many different teams. Like Ottawa gets in there, Buffalo, of course. One day they'll eventually put it together. And of course, you've got the Maple Leafs, Lightning, Panthers as those big guys. But where do they slot in?
It's, again, very loaded question. Tough question to answer. I mean, it's going to depend on health a lot. And I'm not talking about the Bruins' health because, like we've been saying, they've got depth. And I think it's going to depend on the health of other teams because if you mentioned Florida, if they stay healthy, they'll be right at the top again. If Tampa stays healthy, they're going to be right towards the top. If Toronto does their thing they did last year, they'll be right in the top 3. I don't have any doubt about that. And then where the Bruins fit, unfortunately, it's going to be the 4th seed in the Atlantic. How do they stack up against Buffalo? I mean, they always stack up well against Buffalo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all you Sabres fans out there, but the team is good on paper, but good on paper doesn't win you the division. But again, it's going to depend on the other teams. They're going to be scoreboard watching all season, I feel like. And it's the unfortunate fact of where they are in either losing players to free agency or trading players that they unnecessarily needed to. Like they didn't. Still to this day, I don't understand why they traded Brad Marchand.
Yeah,
I do not. That one isn't the worst offender though. The worst offender to me is trading Brendan Carlo. You need that right-handed defenseman, and you let him go because he might leave in the offseason, but he has ties to Boston with his family. I don't know. And then you trade Charlie Coyle, the pride of Boston, too.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of dumps that I don't really understand last season. And I guess you got to rely on some of the acquisitions in the offseason, some of them from last season. And some of them I look at and say, yeah, they're pretty reliable, but some of them not so much. I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting again. I mean, yeah, it all depends on the other teams of what they're doing in the offseason or what they've done in the offseason to improve and how they kind of stack up. So, but I always like the Atlantic Division, though, because there are so many different teams. There's always question marks of where it's going to be. But I see the Bruins being right there. I mean, they have a lot of question marks as well. So, I mean, there's just so much to kind of see what'll happen as the season unfolds.
I think it also depends on how they utilize certain positions too, because we're mentioning the goaltenders. Like if they go out of camp and they say they find a trade partner for Korpisalo, and God forbid DiPietro gets hurt, what do you do then? You're going to move Brad Arvanitis up from Maine to the NHL? That's insanity to me. But stranger things have happened in the NHL. So, but do you find another goalie then? Do you just move him up from the ECHL? I don't know.
Yeah, that's gonna be something to watch for sure. All right, well, let's say we've talked about a lot of storylines, questions. First question of the quick fire round here, and these are just a few, quick sentence, one or two sentences to answer these. But biggest storyline going in, what do you feel is the biggest one?
Oh God, can Elias Lindholm live up to the money? That's the biggest one for me. He's got to live up to the contract, and he's got to live up to the role. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of question marks going into Don Sweeney's office, and I don't mean question marks. I mean hate mail.
Yeah, right. He's got to show something, and from the start of the season, not
exactly. 3 goals in the first 10 games would be enough for me.
Yeah, that's true. That shows a bit of positivity. All right, let's keep the positivity going. Breakout stars. Who do you see breaking out this season? There could be a few candidates here. I mean, obviously it's not going to be Pasternak. He's broken out many times. But who do you see as breakout star?
I think Zacha's going to break out this year. I have a good feeling that he's just going to continue the hot hand. He's been healthy, and he knows that his job is on the line. And usually when guys know their job is on the line, then they start to heat up. I could also see Swayman out with a rebound season this year. I don't know if it's going to be a traditional breakout season, but it might be a breakout season for him.
I mean, he could fall into this next one. Players that need to bounce back. One player, you could add another one. There's probably a couple. Who do you see there?
I'm not going to say Swayman. Actually, that's not my answer. Is actually Hampus Lindholm.
Yeah.
And I know he was out with an injury after only playing 15 games last season, but it even extends past that. He had the production to have the assists, but I think he's got to have more offensive, selfish play to bounce back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously the injury kind of threw a wrench in there, but he definitely. And what was it? Was it this season that they won the President's Trophy and all that? Was that why he had that big season?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, if you can return to that, that's crazy. But he had a lot of. I mean, he's going to get a lot of ice time this season because Carlo's not there. So he might be able to recreate that season. We'll see.
Be wonderful.
All right, X factors. This can be a situation. It could be a player. What do you see as a big X factor this season?
I think it's going to be special teams this year. Special teams is going to be key for them this season. They didn't really quite get going on the power play or the penalty kill last year, and I think, I mean, obviously one was a little more lopsided than the other, but I think both of them need to be consistent this season in order for them to actually have long-term success.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this in another preview, but rarely teams that make the playoffs don't have a good power play and penalty kill together. I mean, there is the exceptions where one team bad penalty kill, they go into the playoffs, but
yeah,
for the most part, both special teams are at least good. But yeah, that's going to be a big one for sure.
You can't be middle of the pack with either of those this year.
Yeah, definitely. And they got the talent to be able to have both good. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay, let's talk about prospects. Do you see anyone surprising and making the team that you're not really having on your radar right now?
Sort of, I guess. Like on the edge. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call him a prospect at this point. And it's not DiPietro because I still think he's going to make the team because they don't really have much of a choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Unless they want to lose him. But I think Fabian Lysell is going to make the team this year. And he didn't show a ton last year, but I think they've kind of gotten to the point where they're going to put him on the team out of camp and they're going to see exactly what he is from the start of the season because they've seen what he can do in Providence. He can score goals, no doubt about it. But that talent just hasn't translated to the NHL. And I think once they get him on the team from the jump from September all the way to the first week of October, and he's playing in that opening night game against Alex Ovechkin, that's where they're really going to see, okay, this is what this kid really is. This is what we saw him in Vancouver with the Giants, and this is actually what we wanted. Or they're going to say, oh, this is completely different. This is not who we drafted. We need to trade this kid ASAP, and we need to get whatever we can, whether it's a bag of pucks or an actual player for him.
Yeah, I've always liked Lysell, so I'm really hoping he does because, well, in my backyard here in Vancouver. So he was one of my favorite prospects during his draft year, and I was hoping the Canucks would find a way to draft him, but they don't draft people from the Giants, so whatever. Yeah, it's I hope that he does have a good season and makes the team first and then has a good season after that. Because he definitely, like you said, he can score. So he can translate to the NHL. That's going to be good. All right, moving to other prospects. You mentioned Ty Gallagher as one to watch. Who else are you watching? Of course, James Higgins is an obvious one as well.
Yep.
But anyone else that you're kind of watching this season?
So in Providence, I'm watching Don Zlashmilis. I mean, the tear he went on when he got signed the contract was absolutely insane. And I'm hoping that continues into the season. But the person I'm really watching for is Dean Latorno. Of course, didn't record a goal in his first collegiate season. Only had 3 assists in all 37 games, which is horrible. But then on the flip side of that, he was playing with a hand injury the entire season. He got surgery in December and continued to play through it. And season ended in April. So he's now 5 months removed from the season. He's rested. He's been able to work out a little bit more. I'm hoping to see him score at least in the 10 to 15, maybe even 20 goal range for BC this year, which I don't think is going to carry him over to sign his ELC this year. I think he'll stay there for at least another year, maybe two, maybe graduate. But I do want to see him at least make some sort of progress this year.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one in the upper tier of prospects for the Bruins, and even in the NHL. As you know, I don't know if he's going to be on the top 100 list once that gets updated, but he is definitely an intriguing guy. And if he has a really good season in the NCAA, that definitely will maybe solidify that. But yeah, when he was drafted, a lot of people were like, I don't know, but I think he definitely has potential.
I think the problem with Dean is just he went from prep school to the NCAA, and that's tough. And they can say like, oh, well, he technically got drafted out of the USHL because he played 2 games for Sioux Falls, but it's like, no, he didn't play in the USHL. He went from prep school where he's had 122 points in 60 games to the toughest division of college hockey, mind you, where you're playing top-tier schools, and your out-of-conference schedule is also top-tier schools.
Yeah.
Because of the school that you went to. It's tough, and I want to see him succeed, but he's got to show it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a big jump for sure. I mean, for the levels. So, that he's going to be interesting to watch. Okay, this is a quick one. Who do you think is leading the team in scoring? Forwards and defense. There could probably an obvious one because
forwards is going to be
Pasternak.
Yeah, forwards is going to be Pasternak. I don't have any doubt about that. If he plays 82 games again this year, I personally don't have any doubt that he'll reach the 110 point mark this year if he plays all 82 games. But I'd be happy with 100, obviously. Defense is a little tougher since there's a smattering of people who could just score about the same amount of goals as everybody else. But I'm going to go with Mason Lohr. I think he's going to continue it into this year. I think he could potentially hit the 10 to 15 goal mark.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if his plus minus is, even though I almost the plus minus is not, but when you have a bad one, it does say something. But yeah, his offense is definitely something that I can see him leading the team in scoring for sure on defense. All right, last one. This is bold predictions. I love doing these. So you got a bold prediction for me.
Bold prediction, they're going to make the playoffs on the 82nd game of the season. I think they're going to be battling it out to the last game of the year. But I don't think they're going to win, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs by winning the game. I think they're going to win by losing and somebody else loses.
Yeah, didn't that happen to that? Was the one season there?
Something like that.
I don't know. I seem to remember something like that where they didn't win. They made it to the playoffs because of the Penguins losing, I think. Something like that.
Or it'll be an overtime or shootout loss.
Yeah.
That they still get a point for. And they won and they get in by a point.
There you go. We'll see. I mean, the Bruins are. I mean, I don't know about their run. When any team that has David Pasternak, you always give him a chance because he can carry a team by himself. But yeah, I think the Bruins still are a pretty good team. I mean, we'll see what happens if they make the playoffs or not, and bounce back from not making the playoffs for the first time in a long time. So we'll see. But thanks, Zander, for coming on and talking about the Bruins as we get prepared for the season, which is still a little month away. But make sure to check out everything at thehawkriders.com. We got preview articles already out there, lots more to come, and lots more preview videos to come as well. And our Substack newsletters, which gives you all the articles, depending on which ones you're signed up for. But make sure to check all that out. But until our next preview, we will see you next time.